the forgotten Nobel Prize winner you never knew about. How one scientist changed our world, yet few remember his name. Imagine a world without lasers, without fiber optic communications, without barcode scanners, basically no high-speed internet, no surgery with precision lasers, no CD/DVD players. Sounds impossible, right? Yet, the scientists whose work helped make all of that possible remains almost completely unknown. Today, we're going to uncover the story of that scientist, how he went from a tiny childhood in rural Australia to winning the Nobel Prize in physics, and why his name is still so rarely mentioned. Stay with me, because this is a story of innovation, war, politics, and forgotten greatness. Who is he? The man is Aleksandr Mikhailovich Prokhorov, sometimes spelled Prokhorov. Yet ask most people today, who invented the laser? And you'll hear names like Theodore Maiman or Charles Towns. Prokhorov's name seldom comes up, but he shared the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1964 for work that laid the foundation for the laser and maser. Early life: he was born on the 11th of July 1916 in Atherton, Pyrmont, in far north Queensland, Australia, to Russian émigré parents. The family returned to the USSR in 1923. He studied physics at Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, and later at the P.N. Lebedev Physical Institute in Moscow. He fought in the Red Army during World War II, was wounded twice, and then returned to physics research. Innovation. By the early 1950s, he was working on what would become quantum electronics. Essentially, the technology that allows light amplification by stimulated emission, the core of the laser. What he actually did. So what exactly did Prokhorov do? And why does it matter? In the 1950s, he, along with his Soviet colleague Nikolai Gennadievich Basov, and independently American physicist Charles Hartowns, developed the key theoretical and practical work in quantum electronics, the maser, microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, and later the laser light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, for fundamental work in the field of quantum electronics, which has led to the construction of oscillators and amplifiers based on the maser laser principle. In plain language, he found a way to pump electrons into a higher energy state, then force them to drop, releasing coherent light, or microwaves, which can be amplified. This is the principle behind lasers. Think of all the things that use lasers today: communication fibers, eye surgery, CD/DVD players, barcode scanners, manufacturing, laser cutting. Those threads trace back to his work: laser eye surgery, fiber optic cabling. Laser equals light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So, why he's forgotten if his work was so foundational? Why is Prokhorov not better known? There are a few reasons. Geopolitics and Cold War. He was working in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Much of his work was behind the Iron Curtain. Western narratives often focus on American or Western European scientists. The ABC article even calls him Australia's forgotten Nobel Prize winner. Name recognition and branding. In popular culture, when people say inventor of the laser, they often mention Theodore Maiman or Towns. Prokhorov is less present in textbooks and media. Complexity of his work. Quantum electronics is a difficult concept to popularize. People may understand Einstein or Curie, but lasers from Soviet physics seems less accessible, so the story is seldom told. Local versus global memory. Even though Prokhorov is well known in Russia, internationally he remains obscure. That Australian birthplace angle is also little recognized outside Australia. So even though his contributions are everywhere around us, his name is faded from public memory. Graphic. 1 billion lasers used worldwide every year, or similar stat, but question: do you know who made it possible? Why you haven't heard of him? Bullets as above. His personal story and anecdotes. He was born in Australia, in a remote rainforest region, then taken back to the USSR as a child. During World War II he served on the Eastern Front, wounded twice, awarded medals for courage. Post-war, he returned to his laboratory and worked on quantum electronics while the world was rebuilding. In later years he became editor-in-chief of the Great Soviet Encyclopedia, 1969-78, and helped shape scientific knowledge in the USSR. He once modestly said, "Many believed that we had gone crazy, that it was impossible when working on lasers." Although he died in 2002, many outside of specialist circles still don't know his name, which is ironic given how widespread laser tech is. Now let's zoom out. Why should we remember Prokhorov? Because the technologies he helped enable shape our daily lives in ways we take for granted. Fiber optic cables that power the internet and global communications, lasers are critical to them. Barcode scanners, DVD, Blu-ray, and even your smartphone cameras rely on laser optical technologies. In short, the world he helped make possible is the one we live in. And yet his story is rarely part of mainstream history lessons. Remembering Prokhorov isn't just about giving credit. It's about rediscovering how innovation often comes from hidden places, from scientists who don't become celebrities but whose work changes everything. If not for this man, maybe no laser, maybe slower internet, maybe different world. So next time someone mentions the invention of the laser, don't just think of the flashy names you've heard. Remember the quiet physicist from Australia, born, Soviet-trained, who helped build the invisible backbone of modern life, Aleksandr Prokhorov. If you found this story surprising, please do like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss more hidden stories from science and history. Leave a comment. What's one technology you use every day that blew your mind when you learned how it works? I'll pick my favorite and respond. Thanks for watching. Dive deeper, stay curious, and never forget, the people shaping our future may be the ones you'll never hear about. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe to Etras 1010. Thanks for watching. May God send warmth and love to all. Amen.